Welcome to Peace of Mind for Pet Parents, the podcast by BrightHaven Caregiver Academy. I'm Gail Pope.
And I'm Karen Wiley. And together we're here to support you in navigating life with your aging or ill pets. We know how deeply you care for your beloved companions, and we're here to offer guidance, understanding, and resources for this meaningful journey.
Each episode, we'll explore topics that address the daily challenges, emotional realities, and choices you face as a pet parent, helping you and your pets find peace, comfort, and joy. Whether it's making sense of a new diagnosis, adjusting to changing needs, or simply seeking a place to feel understood, you're not alone. Thank you for being here with us.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here at Peace of Mind for Pet Parents. I'm Karen Wiley, here as always with Gail Pope. Today we're going to talk about something that's pretty different from what Gail and I usually talk about. It's some important issues that we've had to give some thought to over the last couple of years. Thinking about how to answer those questions over the last couple of years, I started doing some research and realizing that there's not a whole lot of information out there about what I want us to talk about today. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a look at how to plan for taking care of your pet if you are not able to take care of your pet. If something happens to you, what plan do you have in place to take care of your pet? Who would do it? The motivator to begin looking at this was when Gail would get emails from people wondering if the BrightHaven sanctuary was still in operation as a physical operation and asking Gail if animals were still being accepted for lifetime care. The lifetime care program was actually a program you had in place a long time ago, right, Gail?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about it?
Actually, it was fairly simple. Susan designed the program, and it really was just a few pages of tell us about your animal and describe your situation. I can't remember. I haven't looked at the pages for a while now, but it worked. It fitted. Then we put what the costs would be for an animal to come to us after someone's death, perhaps. They would have the option of the animal going into rescue, being cared for by Susan or one of her fosters until adoption, or whether they would come to sanctuary for the rest of their lives. So we had two branches to it and a lot of paperwork and references and that kind of thing. I wouldn't say it was exceedingly popular because it's a niche of people who actually want to plan ahead. We also had people that would contact us and say, oh, my Aunt Fanny died. She had 5 cats. She died last week. We just don't know what to do. Can you help us? You know, there were two sides to that. Sometimes the person who died had left money in trust and actually left it to a particular member of the family or a friend on consideration that they would help find homes for the animals and to use the money if necessary for that. So it varied an awful lot. Then there were others where maybe I'm just thinking of a dog we took in called Anubis. Anubis's father just couldn't care for her any longer. He was just very debilitated. He'd been advised to have her euthanized. He was a sweet, wonderful man. And he made an appointment. He came to see me, and what could I do? He didn't bring any revenue for BrightHaven, but she brought us a whole lot of love. It was very varied, but it really opens up the chasm of what could I do if I got hit by a bus tomorrow and I was unable to take care of my 1, 2, 3 or more 4-legged family? Do I have family to help? Do I know somebody who's always said to me, oh, anything happened to you, don't worry, I'll take the children? We don't all have that. So this, I think, is an exceedingly good idea. And it's unbelievably well developed by you-know-who's.
Well, you know, if I see a gap somewhere that isn't covered, and if no one's filling that gap, what is our unique take on this? We have it. And I did find, as you would get inquiries, like I said, every few months there might be an inquiry and you'd tell me about it. But it brought back, for me, memories of volunteering for Golden Retriever Rescue and helping with intake. So I would be verifying references. I would be checking out the vet clinic records to make sure that someone applying to adopt was actually someone who took care of their animals on a regular basis and all that kind of stuff. I do remember a couple occasions where people were bringing Goldens. They wanted to bring Goldens to rescue because someone in the family had died and no one was set up to take care of the dog. Those were really difficult because the people who were trying to find a place for that particular golden retriever didn't know very much about that dog. It'd be a niece once or twice removed or something, somebody in the extended family who knew a lot about animals. So they were stepping up to the plate to try to find out what to do for that dog, but they didn't know that dog. When we started talking about this kind of inquiry that BrightHaven would still be getting occasionally, these are the memories I started thinking back on. It's all that information that you know about your own pet that needs to be written down. Whoever might be the next person to love them. It could be the same kind of situation where we often hear with hospice care. We don't want to really think about what's going to happen down the road. We just don't want to think about death because we're going to make it happen. I think there could be some folks who say, I don't really want to focus on this because I don't want to make something happen. When in fact, just jotting down some wonderful information about your pet to help someone else in the future is something a lot of us can do. If something happened to you tomorrow, what would happen to your pet? That's the basic question that this particular workbook aims to answer. I know when I was looking for information to see what was already out there, because if there was already great information out there, then there was nothing for us to put a unique perspective on. But the only thing I was finding was from attorneys or financial planners. It would be 2 pages in their books because attorneys can formalize your wishes and financial planners can help you figure out how to fund your wishes, but neither of them can tell you what your wishes for your pet should be. That's really caregiver knowledge. So that's the perspective we've taken with this workbook, is to really look at it from the caregiver perspective. I think in doing the research that I did, it's not just about death. It's not just about what happens to your pets if something happens to you and you die. It's also what happens if you don't die. That's the thing. If you have a sudden hospitalization, if you have a surgery that you need to have and you're going to need some time to recover and may not be able to care for your pets during that, you could fall and be in rehab for several weeks or a month, or a family emergency takes you away. There's all these non-death situations where your pets are vulnerable if no one knows anything about them. So that's another reason why we were diving into this. Another is that it's not enough to just have a will and to say what you want done with your pet in a will, because a will goes through probate court. That can take weeks or months. Who's going to take care of your pet and incur the financial expenses along the way? If someone is not specified, that's a problem. I think you were saying earlier that sometimes people would say to you, my sister or my brother-in-law or somebody in the family said they'd take the pet, but that's so casual.
Yeah. It is. You're talking about wills and other legal documents. They don't give you the place to write the personal things about the animals that you'd need to know. Their habits, what they loved, what they hated, what kind of grooming tool. There are so many things we take for granted with our animals because we live with them. They're our children. Unless you can write down and list some of those things, you're not leaving the legacy that you would want for them. Obviously, somebody that takes in an animal after someone's death, or if they can't, I guess if they become immobilized, then they can perhaps still have conversations. But if they've died or totally out of the conversation, then it becomes a lot more difficult. I remember bringing animals into the sanctuary in those instances. We took in 5 cats from one lady in San Francisco at one time. We didn't know anything about the animals. We were given names and which color, which animal had what name, and we didn't know anything else about them. That was tough. That was tough because it takes time to get to know. When you've got a kitten, you're working on that getting to know together, as it were. But when they're older, they're either very scared or they're defensive, or they can become aggressive. Without knowing who they are, you have to spend a lot more time. So it's much kinder to your animals if the person that's going to take them, or one of them, has that information to know what they love, what they don't love. So, yeah, I think it's something that we all have to think about.
Yeah, whether we like thinking about it or not, it's still a good thing to begin to get a handle on. Even for people who have a trust set up already, that's wonderful, but that's the funding of the care. It doesn't necessarily specify what care is needed or what care is desired or what your dog's favorite toy is or what your cat's favorite treats are.
So those are all the things that are important. Especially details that they represent everyday life and happiness to the animal. You would want them to continue having.
Exactly. And so that's really what makes this workbook very different, is that we have looked at the situation from the caregiver perspective, looking at it for the fun days, the favorite toys, their favorite beds, and so forth. But also, if you have a pet, if you have a diabetic dog that needs an insulin shot,
You have all the medical information too.
Yeah.
Having a book like this, it occurs to me too that one of the important things is that you can keep updating it. It's an ongoing process as the animal gets older or you get older, and what you have to do and what you can and can't do and things like that. As they change, it's like, oh, I have to make a note of that because it will be important for somebody else to know.
absolutely. For all of us who have cared for a sick pet or a pet with a chronic condition, there's probably special techniques we have to get the pill down for our cat, or a location that we give our sub-Q fluids or whatever it might be, but taking video of that kind of thing, things that you don't typically think of, could really help people. I was saying this to you earlier, but in thinking of my own pets, I have a fear-reactive Aussie who is as sweet as can be at home with Tim and me and his little Aussie sister, Livy, but he is very reactive to change and to new things. If I don't provide video, it's not a matter of just taking it and leaving it on my phone. It's a matter of taking the video and putting it somewhere that someone else could see it.
Yes.
But I need them to see how wonderful he is at home when he's relaxed and everything is normal for him. You just ask him to come or stay or go to his crate or whatever is needed, and he does everything you ask. He's just a wonderful guy. But to strangers, they would think he was aggressive or a risk to be around and so forth. Thinking that through, it's like I have to not just take the videos that I've taken of him since he was a little puppy, but I have to put those videos somewhere that other people could view, like a Vimeo, and have a link that I give to whoever.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, where would you do that? Here's a question for you. Have you actually printed out and started your workbook?
With my own stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, I actually was using my ability to write things down to guide how we made it out. Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yes. You thought that was a gotcha question, wasn't it?
It was. It fell flat.
There's so many things that I tried to think of and write down. There'll be sections in this workbook that people say, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Fine, just skip ahead. Find the parts that are relevant to you. For people who have multiple pets, just make multiple copies of the pages to do what you need to do. That's fine. We give permission in the copyright part of the work for people to do that. Because the goal is to make sure that you're able to capture the information for each pet that you have.
So how soon is this book going to be finished?
The book is finished.
Ready to rock and roll?
It is being put on the BCA website as we speak.
Oh, wow. Oh, excellent. That's wonderful.
Yes. So we'll have the outline of what's covered in the workbook so everybody can take a look at it, see if it's something that they want to get, and we'll go from there.
That's absolutely perfect. Congratulations. It's a wonderful project.
I think it's a project that is needed, and it's needed from our caregiver perspective. It's not a financial planner, not an accountant, and not a lawyer's perspective, but to guide people through the information to capture about their pet to ensure that their future is a good one.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. I guess with that, we will close this particular episode of Peace of Mind for Pet Parents. As always, we thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on Peace of Mind for Pet Parents. We hope today's episode has offered you support and insight as you care for your aging or ill pets.
Remember, it's not just about the end, it's about living well at every stage of life. To continue your journey with us, explore more resources at BrightHaven Caregiver Academy's website, brightpath careforpets.com, where you'll find guides, assessments, and a caring community of pet parents like you.
Until next time, may you and your pets find comfort, connection, and peace in every moment. Take care.